الله الرحمن الرحيم. وما خلقنا السماوات والأرض وما بينهما إلا بالحق وإن الساعة لآتية فاصفح الصفح الجميل إن ربك هو الخلاق العليم. وما خلقنا السماوات والأرض وما بينهما إلا بالحق وإن الساعة لآتية فاصفح الصفح الجميل إن ربك هو الخلاق العليم. ولقد آتيناك سبعا من المثاني والقرآن العظيم لا تمدن عينيك إلى ما متعنا به أزواجا منهم ولا تحزن عليهم واخفض جناحك للمؤمنين وقل إني أنا النذير المبين كما أنزلنا على المقتسمين الذين جعلوا القرآن عظيم فوربك لنسألنهم أجمعين عما كانوا يعملون فاصدع بما تؤمر وأعرض عن المشركين. صدق الله العلي العظيم وصدق رسوله الكريم. وصل يا رب على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.
صل على محمد وآل محمد. sorry guys.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أزور سيدي ومولاي ومعتمدي ورجائي، ذخري وذخيرتي في آخرتي ودنياي، الإمام الحسين، زيارة مني ونيابة عن والدي وعن والد والدي وعن جميع المؤمنين والمؤمنات ومن أوصوني بالزيارة والدعاء. السلام عليك يا وارث آدم يا صفوة الله، السلام عليك يا وارث نوح نبي الله، السلام عليك يا وارث إبراهيم خليل الله، السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله، السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله، السلام عليك يا وارث محمد حبيب الله، السلام عليك يا وارث أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام، السلام عليك يا ابن محمد المصطفى وابن علي المرتضى، السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء وابن خديجة الكبرى، السلام عليك يا ثأر الله وابن ثأره والوتر الموتور. أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وأطعت الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين، فلعن الله أمة قتلت ولعن الله أمة ظلمت ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة، لم تنجزك الجاهلية بأنجاسها ولم تلبسك من مدلهمات ثيابها، وأشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين، وأشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرضي الزكي الهادي المهدي، وأشهد أن الأئمة من ولدي كلمة التقوى وأعلام الهدى والعروة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا، وأشهد الله وملائكته وأنبياءه ورسله إني بكم مؤمن وبإيابكم موقن بشرائع ديني وخواتيم عملي، وقلبي لقلبكم سلم وأمري لأمركم متبع. صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وعلى أجسادكم وعلى أجسامكم وعلى شاهدكم وعلى غائبكم وعلى ظاهركم وعلى باطنكم، بأبي أنت وأمي يا ابن رسول الله، بأبي أنت وأمي يا أبا عبد الله، لقد عظمت الرزية وجلت المصيبة بك علينا وعلى جميع أهل السماوات والأرض، فلعن الله أمة أسرجت وألجمت وتهيأت لقتالك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، قصدت حرمك وأتيت إلى مشهدك أسأل الله بالشأن الذي لك عنده وبالمحل الذي لك لديه أن يصلي على محمد وآل محمد، وأن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وآل محمد.
زيارة سيدتي مولاتي فاطمة الزهراء عليها أفضل الصلاة والسلام. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. يا ممتحنة امتحنك الله الذي خلقك قبل أن يخلقك فوجدك لما امتحنك صابرا، وزعمنا أننا لك أولياء ومصدقون وصابرون لكل ما أتانا به أبوك صلى الله عليه وآله وأتى به وصيه، فإنا نسألك إن كنا صدقناك إلا ألحقتنا بتصديقنا لهما، لنبشر أنفسنا بأننا قد طهرنا بولايتك. السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله، السلام عليك يا بنت نبي الله، السلام عليك يا بنت حبيب الله، السلام عليك يا بنت خليل الله، السلام عليك يا بنت صفي الله، السلام عليك يا بنت أمين الله، السلام عليك يا بنت خير خلق الله، السلام عليك يا بنت أفضل أنبياء الله ورسله وملائكته، السلام عليك يا بنت خير البرية، السلام عليك يا سيدة نساء العالمين من الأولين والآخرين، السلام عليك يا زوجة ولي الله وخير الخلق بعد رسول الله، السلام عليك يا أم الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة، السلام عليك أيتها الصديقة الشهيدة، السلام عليك أيتها الرضية المرضية، السلام عليك أيتها الفاضلة الزكية، السلام عليك أيتها الحوراء الإنسية، السلام عليك أيتها التقية النقية، السلام عليك أيتها المحدثة العليمة، السلام عليك أيتها المظلومة المغصوبة، السلام عليك أيتها المضطهدة المقهورة، السلام عليك يا فاطمة بنت رسول الله ورحمة الله وبركاته، صلى الله عليك وعلى روحك وبدنك أشهد أنك مضيت على بينة من ربك وأن من سرك فقد سر رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله، ومن جفاك فقد جفا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله، ومن آذاك فقد آذى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله، ومن وصلك فقد وصل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله، ومن قطعك فقد قطع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله، لأنك بضعة منه وروح الذي بين جنبيه. أشهد الله ورسله وملائكته أني راض عمن رضيت عنه، ساخط على من سخطت عليه، متبرئ ممن تبرأت من، موال لمن واليت، معاد لمن عاديت، مبغض لمن أبغضت، محب لمن أحببت. وكفى بالله شهيدا وحسيبا وجازيا ومثيبا. صل على محمد وعلى آل بيته.
صل على محمد وآل محمد. أحسنت.
Tonight is the weakest hadith of Fatima's demise. But even the weakest hadith deserves 1,000 cries. If I spent everything I own for your commemoration, and I wailed every night in your lamentation, and every waking moment in your admiration, it would be unworthy of the first step towards your station. If they said this was an exaggeration, and what was my explanation, I would say, is she not worthy? Daughter of the greatest creation, wife of the commander of our salvation, mother of the imams for every generation, the fiercest rose bloomed for humanity's inspiration. Fatima thought she'd see you soon. Muhsin was the light in the gloom, the chandelier lighting the room, his light brighter than their flames, stronger than the fumes and the smoke plumes. But the only room Muhsin knew, your room, that became his tomb. Muhsin speaking. My father is Amir al-Mu'mineen. My mother, Sayeda Nisa al-Alameen. Her father, Rahmatun lil Alameen. My brothers, princes of this deen, my sister, the queen of Arba'een, and I won't see their faces, it seems, as I'm in this eternal dream. Muhsin means to better, but you couldn't be better. Muhsin had no sin. Muhsin thought about his nephew, the 6-month-old Abdullah. Oh nephew, we share the same blood and spill the same blood. Yours on your father's hand upon the hot sand descending to the skies. Mine through the broken door upon the floor amidst my mother's cries. Nephew Abdullah, you died feeling such intense thirst, yet I never had the chance to even feel thirst. You saw your father's face, felt his warm embrace. From my mother's womb I was displaced, tried to be erased. Abdullah, you saw the sunlight and I saw their flames light. We both choked, you on your own blood, me on the thick smoke. By day they fed you, at night they robbed your crib, but my bed was my mother's broken rib. The last thing you saw was your father's face covered in your own blood. The last thing as I saw was my mother's torso splintered with wood. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. The love of Imam al-Hassan and Imam al-Hussein, a second salawat. For the love of Fatima Zahra, salamullahi alayha, a third in the loudest of your voices. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. In the name of God, the Beneficent and the Merciful, condolences to the Imam of our time, Imam al-Mahdi Ajjallah Faraj al-Sharif, and the Ummah for the martyrdom anniversary of Fatima Zahra, salamullah alayha. There are three narrations when it comes to the Shahadat anniversary of Fatima Zahra. And this is the first one, which is 45 days after the martyrdom of Rasulullah. Of course, remembering the martyrdom of Fatima Zahra is key and essential to Tashayya', for indeed, through the remembrance of Fatima Zahra, it brings us remembrance of Rasulullah automatically, as she is the link between Imama and Nubuwwah. Fatima Zahra and her tragedies are seemed controversial by some, yet the narrations are definite and concrete by the Tashayya', hence why we remember the martyrdom of the Lady of Light. Alhamdulillah, shukr, we are blessed to have you all in the presence of this Majlis, and we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Imam al-Mahdi Ajjallah Faraj al-Sharif is with us in spirit and presence, as well as other members of Ahlul Bayt, for indeed through Majalis they do come and attend. In this Majlis, we like to thank the people who've recited the Quran and the du'as, and now we move on to the lecture part of the Majlis. We are blessed to have Al-Hajj Sadiq Damani with us again to come. He came from London to bless us with knowledge regarding Islam as a whole, and linking it of course to the infallibility and things that we can improve from a day-to-day basis. So, without further delay, please welcome him with 3 loud salats ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Before we begin, in honor of all of our Shahadat, of all of our ulama al-kiram, of all of the marhumeen who have died in the last few weeks, especially in Shiraz in Iran, whilst they were doing the ziyarah of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, for the marhumeen of all of those here present and the organisers of this majalis, and all of the marhumeen across the world, wherever they may be, rahimallahu man qara al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In honor of Sayeda Nisa al-Alamin al-Zahra, أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، خاتم النبيين، سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المأسومين المذلومين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. وصلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي، يا لثارات الحسين، يا حجة الله يا ابن الحسن يا صاحب الأسر والزمان صلوات اللهم صل على محمد. My dearest brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. If I were to ask each and every one of you, what was your goal today? Think about the first response that would come to your head. Truly, the first knee-jerk response that comes to your head. What was your goal today? Some of us would probably say my goal was primarily to maybe win that sales deal that I have at work. Or maybe to treat that patient as well as I could. Or maybe to pick up my parents and then they could come to a majlis. Or maybe myself, the main goal was to come to this majlis today. The frightening thing is that for many of us, and perhaps not all, but for many, the thing that rolls off our tongue as to what is the key goal that we have for today is not the goal that we're told to have whenever we make an intention for some sort of act in Islam. When we offer our prayers, if you say that niyyah in your head or out loud in English or in Arabic or in Urdu, you will always hear everyone say a certain phrase, qurbatan ilallah. It is in order to seek nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, it would be fair to say that in any single moment of our life, if someone were to tell us, hey, what's your goal today? The first thing should be nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, through closing that sales deal, I can get nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if I think about it in the right way. I can treat that patient successfully and get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if I think about it in the right way. But why is it that it doesn't roll off our tongue? In the same way that if you were to ask someone on a football pitch, what's your goal? They'd say, well, I need to get the ball into the net. It should be as clear and as simple as us to say, any moment, what's your goal, Sadiq? Qurbatan ilallah. How? Well, I've got these different means by which I'm going to do it. So why is it that when you ask the average Muslim, the average Shia, the average lover of Ali Muhammad, does this not roll off our tongues? Well, let me share a stat with you. And actually, I had a stat on this, and I used to use this one in many of my lectures. And it was based on 2020, based on a poll of graduates. But this one I've just taken from YouGov, which was a poll that was done very recently by them. What percentage of people in the UK, according to YouGov's study, do you think don't believe in a God? Give me a number. Who don't believe in a God? 30%? How many? 70. We're clawing up to 73% of people in the UK that don't believe in a God. The stat in 2020, according to a group of students, of 1,000 students that were polled at graduate level in the UK applying for jobs, was it 49 or 50% if memory serves me well? 1 in 2. Now we've gone to 73%. So when we think about why is it that maybe when someone asks me what is my goal in life, what was my goal today, what was my goal in entering this majlis, why is it that it's not rolling off my tongue that it's qurbatan ilallah, it's seeking nearness to Allah? Well, factually, all of us who are at least here physically present live in a society that the majority deem it to be godless. So the artifacts that we see are not necessarily godly artifacts. It's not like we're walking past the mosque every other minute. It's not like we're hearing the sound of adhan every other second. It's not like we're in a world where everything is halal and you're seeing good hijab and so. No, we're living in, at least in the UK, from a majority perspective, a godless society. Now, of course, you would probably then argue, Sadiq, you can see the creation of the world and through that you can find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And yes, that is true. But in the tip of the tongue, we're not thinking we're in a journey that is closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It doesn't roll off our tongue. Therefore, what I want us to try and do today is leverage the works of His Eminence Ayatollah Nasir Maitaram al-Shirazi. May Allah bless all of our maraj and grant them more tawfiq, inshallah. Where he helps us in trying to rediscover, or discover, depending on where we are, discover or rediscover our purpose in life. Of course, when we go and understand this topic, we're going to realize our purpose in life is qurbatan ilallah ta'ala, of course. So we're going to try and rationally deduce this. We're going to take this from a completely level playing field. No assumptions made based that you understand Quran or you believe in a hadith. Completely just from an individual's perspective that all of you experience and that every single individual in mankind has ever experienced. Once we do that, We're then going to see, is there any value behind recognizing this God and journeying towards this God for society at large and for myself? And thereafter, once we conclude that yes, you know what, there is value, there is this loving Lord, this merciful Lord, this great Lord, we're then going to try and introspect and think just how much of this love and mercy and greatness of Allah have I missed out by looking at a beautiful excerpt of a dua by the son of the lady who we commemorate tonight, Al-Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam in Dua al-Arafah. So if you'd like to go on this journey together using the works of Ayatul al-Nasr and Sheikh Muhammad Jawad Shumali, kindly offer salawat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. So how can we truly, from a level playing field, a blank canvas, say, yes, there must be some sort of creator and it's valuable for me to worship and understand this creator? We start with the following. No Quran, no Hadith, just you and I as individuals. That within every single human ever on the face of the planet, from Adam until Khatam, that every single one of us are curious. We are naturally curious in our innate nature. That is the way that we've been created. We all deep down want to understand things. We all want to get educated in some form, in some way. It's a natural thing within every single human being. And excuse my language, no human deliberately wants to remain ill-educated or dumb. We want to progress. We want to know. We're curious. And it sparks questions. And COVID was a wonderful thing in some ways because it stopped all of us from getting into the rat race and actually just looking at it from afar and going, yeah, let me ask myself some questions. Where am I going? Or where have I been going these last 20, 30, 40, 80 years that I've been living? And where do I want to go once society gets back to normal and I can leave this room or this house of mine? What do I want to do with my life? Where do I want to go? Well, how do I make that decision? And some of us started to reflect. Why? Because our souls are naturally inquisitive. Let's use a very simple example that Ayatul al-Nasr gives us. If someone's in a car accident, may Allah protect us, and that individual wakes up or falls into a coma, and you picture that moment where that individual is on the hospital bed, the mother is on one side holding their hand, probably with a tasbih doing dua, and the father holding the other hand, and suddenly after 3, 6, 9, 12 months, this young 25-year-old brother, their son, starts to open his eyes for the first time. He'll open those eyes and he'll look around, and the first thing he's going to say is not what's for dinner, I hope. It'd probably be something like, what happened to me? Why am I here? What are you guys doing around me? It'll be pure inquisitiveness. Why? Because the soul innately wants to understand. It wants to figure things out. So in the same way in this life, once upon a time we were nothing, and then suddenly we opened our eyes, and have we ever stopped and asked, what are you? Who are you? What am I? What am I doing here? Where am I going? Why is this guy dead? Why am I alive? What is the whole purpose of this whole thing? Our souls want to ask the question, but distractions, a godless society, makes it a little bit tougher for us to really actualize it, which is why COVID in some ways was a bit of a blessing. So the first thing that we realize, amongst any human, we're inquisitive. When you come out of the coma, you want to ask questions. In life, we need to ask those very same questions. Where am I? Where am I going? What am I doing? Where have I come from? So on and so on and so on. You get the point. A second, and we're going to put these all together in the end, a second thing that Ayatul al-Nasr says is again based on a very, very simple general layer that every single human from Adam until Khatam will experience, is that we all have a sense of gratitude. Again, what can be the example be? Let's say, for example, that Sayyid Ali, as ever, hosts a beautiful Mawlid in this occasion, rather than just Majlis. Inshallah, we can have a Mawlid at Sayyid's house at one point, inshallah. So, and he says, you know what? Invite your friend. You tell him that your friend's coming from town, he's come up from London, whatever, and he's like, you know what, invite your friend. And let's just call the friend Ahmed, just for good generic Arabic name reasons. Okay, so you bring Ahmed. Ahmed comes, he sits down in this very room. Sayyid Ali puts on a huge feast to celebrate Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, so he wants to make sure the lovers of Ahlul Bayt are fed well, and Ahmed's munching, he's loving it. Right? And given that Manchester, always says about Manchester, is so diverse, there'll be Iraqi food, Pakistani food, all of it. He's munching, he's loving it. He's finished, and you as a silent observer from the side, because we're all unfortunately judgmental, that's something we can improve in our lives, We're watching Ahmed. Oh, okay, Ahmed. You've munched well. You weren't even a direct guest of this thing. Let's see what you do now. Ahmed gets up, leaves. You'd be like, dude, you may want to say thank you to the host. Within each of us, we have a sense of gratitude that we want to express, right? If someone puts out a banquet in front of us, it's only natural for every single human who's rationally and intellectually engaged to say, you know what, I need to go say thank you to the host. I need to go find who the host is, and I need to make sure I go and thank them. In the same way, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has laid out a feast of this life for us to engage in, where He's given us eyes to see the beauties of the world, ears to listen to the beautiful sound of the Quran, taste buds to taste that very beautiful food that Ahmed was tasting, safety to hold these majalis. We have a sense of gratitude. On this note, if I could just ask you all to take 3 steps forward after I mention the dear name of our awaited Saviour, Alhakeem min Ali Muhammad. In honor of the daughter of Sayeda Zahra, Lady Zainab alayha salam, Salla ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Ahmed jolts out the door. He doesn't say thank you to the host. You and I run through this life. At what point have we stopped and innately from within just said, you know what, let me thank the host? Now, let's say Ali, I think he's an Arsenal supporter. Is that right? He's an Arsenal, someone confirm he's an Arsenal, right? Yeah, okay, cool. Unfortunately, we pray for him on this special night, inshallah. Okay, so, Ali is an Arsenal supporter. So eventually Ahmed's like, oh no! I haven't even said thank you to the host. So he goes home, he's like, okay, how am I going to remedy this? Okay, let me buy him a gift. So he goes to Sports Direct, picks up a shirt, comes back into the house. Ali, I'm so sorry. You fed me so nicely. And I didn't even come to say thank you. I said, don't worry, you don't need to come and say thank you, man. So long as you enjoyed it. No, I brought you a gift. Oh, very nice. I brought you a Tottenham shirt. He's going to look at me like, what do you mean, a Tottenham shirt? Well, I felt it would be nice that I buy you a Tottenham shirt. Why am I giving this weird example? When the individual who wants to thank the person that needs to be thanked decides how they should thank them on their terms, not rather what they're asking for, if you like, then suddenly you start to make weird decisions about how you thank, and let's use the analogy, your creator. Some of us are like, no, you know what, I'll thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the way that I want to. No, Allah has told you how to thank Him in a way that doesn't benefit Him, because He doesn't need that benefit, He's needless, rather it benefits you. So why turn up with a Spurs shirt to an Arsenal fan? And why turn up to a way to thank Allah when He's told that's contrary to the way that He's told you to thank Him? Salat, don't really fancy it. It's not that necessary. No, Allah's told you to glorify Him in that way so that you can get closer to Him. Don't make up your own ways. Anyway, that's a side point. A sense of gratitude. Each of us, we agree, have a natural sense of gratitude. Otherwise, we'll call Brother Ahmed out. And apologies to anyone who's called Ahmed in the room. No direction of you guys at all. A third thing that Ayatollah Nasir says, and again, we're going to put these together. So just stay with me. The Coma example. We are all curious. We all have a sense of gratitude when we get invited to Ali's house. The third example that he gives us is that he says, look, in life, you need to figure out the direction you're going in. Naturally, all of us want to find the correct way in anything that we do. None of us deliberately want to do something when we're intellectually engaged that goes against goodness. We are all attracted to righteousness, to the attributes of Allah. So, use the example. Maybe last year or a couple of years ago, when Al-Qaeda or Taliban, whatever you want to call them, came back into Afghanistan, suddenly everyone was told, Afghans, leave as fast as you can. May Allah bless them because they're going through a horrible time. Leave. So these families pack up their cars, get in the car, and they just start driving. Now, it would be foolish of them to do what? To just drive aimlessly. You don't just drive aimlessly, because if the Taliban are north, you don't want to go in that direction. So what do? They listen. They listen to the news on the radio. They try and check Instagram to see where all the issues are coming. They look around and see smoke coming from the east and the north. They see a military guy that they trust, and they're like, hey, military guy that I trust, which way should I go? And he says, you know what, head south. So what do? They take advice from those who know, from those who understand better than what they understand, and they make a rational a decision to say, you know what, everyone's told me east, north and west is messed up, I'm going to head south instead. And they make a good decision. In the same way in life, we are running through this thing. Like they're running through the country to try and escape. We're running through the country, but we don't even know where we're going. How many of us have truly stopped, looked around, listened to the news from those who know better than us, and said, which direction should I be going in? This is an innate thing within all of us, that we're all curious, that we all have a sense of gratitude, and that we all want to go in the right direction. Which is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Az-Zumar verse 17, فَبَشِّرْ عِبَادِ الَّذِينَ يَسْتَمِعُونَ الْقَوْلِ فَيَتَّبِعُونَ أَحْسَنَ. Therefore give good news to my servants. What good news? Into which servants? Those who listen to the word and then follow the best of it. We're running through this world at 100 miles per hour. At some point we wake up and say, you know what, maybe I just want to check if I'm going in the right direction. And for some reason our society has now got to the point where we're like, you know what, the thing that I'm going to trust is Instagram rather than the scholars who have spent 80 years studying the religion and have never sought a piece of fame. But this guy gets one like and suddenly he's become my idol. This guy's been studying for 80 years solely to get closer to Allah, giving me guidance for free, but I don't want to trust him anymore. You wouldn't take that risk if you were escaping from Afghanistan. To trust the guy that's just trying to get your attention. Give it. You trust the guy who truly cares about your soul, who truly cares about your family. So what has happened to us as a community, where we've left our esteemed ulama al-kiram behind and started going towards those who tell us what we want to hear? The man is leaving Afghanistan and the guy says, you want to know where to go? Yeah, you know what, just stay home. It would be irrational if you know that if the Taliban are coming straight to your house to stay at home. But hey, it's what you want to hear, so you just stay at home. Similarly, when you're saying, where should I go in life, what should I do? And they say, hey, tell me what you want to hear. You don't want to wear hijab? No worries, don't wear hijab. We'll make up a rule for you. You don't want to pay that khums? Don't worry, we'll make up a rule for you. You don't want to pray? Don't worry, prayer is like, it's a back in the day thing, don't worry about it anymore. We'll make a rule for you. No, you go to the guys who truly have the understanding and you follow the best of it according to the Quran. So what do we see? In each of these examples, we see the mannerisms of humans, no matter which generation of civilization you go towards. They're eager to find out about their purpose. They're eager to go and identify their host so they can flank them in the right way. And they're eager to clarify the direction that they're going in. And deep down, once we've overcome all of these distractions that are around us, money, fame, jobs, cars, houses, we all deep down go, you know what? I do want to know where I'm going in life. Speak to that guy who you're chasing right now. Subliminally, we're all chasing some guy. Very few of us have made it where we're not slightly jealous of an individual. Oh, he's got a sick car, He's got the new 3 Series. I don't even know if there's a 3 Series, but he's got a new 3 Series. He bought a new massive house, You know which university he just got into. But once you let all of that sink, and you get to that point maybe where you're 30 or 40 and hopefully you realise this in your teens or your 20s and you're like, you know what, forget the chase. Where am I going? What am I trying to find? Have I even tried to thank this host? How does this host tell me to thank him? But for many of us, we don't reach this point in our life until very late on, and at that point we've made so many mistakes and we've distanced so far away from Allah that when we stand in that next prayer and say قُرْبَةً إِلَى اللَّهِ, the irony is incredible. Because I've been saying I seek nearness to you, Allah, however many times a day, but in my actions I'm doing anything but seeking nearness to Him. I'm lost. I've been following Him rather than following the Creator. And this is something that is innate within all of us. So then when we get asked, what is your goal? The first thing should be not to chase anything except proximity towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But is there any value in it? Is there any value in it? Yes, we understand it's innate between every single human being. And if you read these books about people who have their final regrets before they die, it's the same sort of stuff. I wish I spent more time with my family. I wish I recognized that there could have been a greater being. I wish I could have not lied. All these kind of moral traits that again are very common. But is there any value for those of us in this room who say, you know what, Sadiq, I know this stuff, move on to the next one. that I know that I need to go and seek nearness to Allah? Is there any value in being a theist, in being an individual who believes in a creator? Ayatul Nasr puts a few different points together that again validates the necessity of this and the value of this. Firstly, he says, one of the values of being a theist, of believing in a God, is the advancement of knowledge. The advancement of knowledge in the world. Why? A materialist, someone who doesn't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or a greater all-wise creator, if he were to see something incredible, he would very easily concede, I'm not saying immediately, but he would very easily concede at some point and say, you know what? It just happens. There doesn't need to be a reason for that given creation. Are you following me? There doesn't need to be a reason for that given creation. We're going one step a little bit deeper based on the first thing, okay? There doesn't need to be a reason for that creation according to a materialist, because it could have just happened by luck. They don't believe in an all-wise creator. Whereas you and I as theists, we believe that our creator is all-wise, and he does not create needlessly. Therefore, any single sand drop, any single piece of sand grain, any single droplet of water, any single molecule that a microscope has illustrated to you, any gas that you've discovered, there's a reason for its existence. Otherwise, you're saying my creator created without reason, and therefore you're saying he's unwise. Therefore, a theist, when he sees something very intricate, very confusing, has a passion to go and unravel why has Allah created this in this way, and that brings about this advancement of knowledge. A second value that we understand from believing in a God and theism is that it helps us with our endeavours and hopes. All of us in life go through difficulties. That's normal, right? Many of us probably in this room are sat here and we've left some of those difficulties behind as we've entered this majlis. And we're hoping that when we open our email inbox, we're not going to see that email from whoever it is that we don't want to see it from. Or we don't get that message from that person we're trying to avoid for whatever reasons. We all come in with difficulties. And when we're confronted with these worldly complexities and we feel that desperation and we feel that loneliness, there is something that gets each of us out of it. And there is something that gets every theist out of it. And that is that we believe in a God who comes to our rescue, who guides us to help solve our problems. Nobody can ever take that away from you. Even, God forbid, they're on the verge of killing you. They can never take that faith that you have a Lord that is accompanying you in your every struggle away from you. Never, ever, ever. You make that decision and only you make that decision. You can live in the most godless society where this statistic has gone up from 50% in 2020 to 73% in 2022. God knows where we're going to be in 2024. But you can be in a society where 95% of the society does not believe in a God, but you can still maintain that belief that I've got a God that sees every leaf that touches the floor, and therefore he sees every single calamity and struggle that I go through in order to get closer to him. Those who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're not alone. They're never ever helpless. Because the power and might of Allah always is greater. He steadily kindles this hope within you that manages to ground yourself as a believer, such that a true believer will never ever be disappointed in the situation they're faced in. And the phrase that many of you probably heard me say in previous times, Sayeda Zainab alayhi salam, it's one of the best lines ever in humanity. That despite what she sees, completely grounded. I'm just seeing beauty here, guys. That's all I see. I'm not in despair. Yes, I'm upset, of course. But I'm not seeing chaos. I'm seeing the perfect order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unravel in front of me. And Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam has a line that I think if all of us were to get something tattooed on our soul, please note, on our soul, perhaps it would be this line. In Du'a al-Arafa, he says, مَاذَا وَجَدَ مَنْ فَقَدَكَ. What is he who has lost you found? What is he who has lost you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, found? When I pick up, وَلَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ,
that alcoholic drink, when I pick up that drug, when I pick up that phone full of ghiba, when I pick up that phone with bad images of the opposite gender, whatever it may be, oh Allah, I've lost you in that moment. So what have I found instead? The drug, the drink, the girl, the message, and look what I've missed out on. ماذا وجد من فقد. What is he who was lost you found? وَمَا الَّذِي فَقَدَ مَنْ وَجَدَكَ. And what is he who has found you? Lost. Oh Allah, I come towards you and I leave behind my community. Everyone's like, why are you leaving us behind? Have you seen what I'm going towards? Have you seen how great that being is? You know that sense of gratitude you have deep down, and you want to find that host that gave you this banquet, even though you've never said thank you to him. I'm going towards him, so forget the banquet you got to me, I want his banquet. What is he who has found you lost? What is he who has lost you found? When you think about it this way, it makes you question, what was the whole point of attending that gathering that otherwise took me away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because when I find you, Allah, in these moments of despair, I'm leaving everything that's insignificant and going towards the only significant thing. Mental illness is on the rise, and I'm not a mental health expert or anything like that. But what is for sure, according to scientists, is that if you have a level of hope in something that can never be evaporated, you may be able to conquer that illness. The only thing that will never evaporate, the only thing that will never cease to exist, and the only thing that never had an existence prior or after is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you're battling something, go to the thing that is infinitely present, that is supreme in perfection, that no difficulty that you face will ever be greater. This conviction can help you in coming out from points of anxiety, of worry, of loneliness, of fear. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-An'am, verse 82, those who believe and do not mix up their faith with wrongdoing, those are they who shall have security. They'll have this They're the ones who are rightly guided. You trust Allah, you put it all in Him, you're safe. You're in His protection. The first point we mentioned about theism, the advancement of knowledge. The second point, you're fine. Allah's got you. You'll never ever be able to be forced to remove that hope, because that's something that you have within. And a third value of theism, if you truly, truly believe in this Lord, and a society believes in this Lord, is that you will increase the level of responsibility within a society. Many of you will have been at work, or at university, but let's use the work example, whereby someone's done something wrong, and you know exactly who did it wrong. 4 of you are discussing it, and 3 of them are like, you know what, we're going to put it on the other guys, otherwise it comes back to us. If only the Tory party were this humble. Anyway, we won't go into politics. Maybe a little bit, but I don't know. If only someone could stand up and tell the truth in that moment. 4 people, 3 of them, they know it was this guy. But if they say it's this guy, they get in trouble. But no one's going to know. So what? They just say it's that guy. You as a theist have a very, very weighty thing on top of your head. And that is the presence of Allah watching your every single move. You lie, you're held accountable. You tell the truth, you go towards Allah. What do you want to leave behind? Your colleagues or Allah? You choose, Imam Hussein says. You choose. A society that has true theists would never see a single lie. True or not? True theists. I'm not saying theists, I'm saying true theists. Those with real taqwa. Those individuals who, if you need to give your wallet to them whilst you go and run on the treadmill for 20 minutes, you know they won't even take a look inside, and even if they do, it's probably just to count, so then they know they can return it to you with even more. Those kind of theists. A society where people have this cognizance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching their every single move. Where self-centeredness does not become a thing. The only thing you do tawaf around is the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The only thing you care about is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This individual sees an internal policeman within him. And therefore we can see a society of true theists would be valuable. A society of theists would advance knowledge. A society of theists would have great value in people being positive about life, not feeling in despair, being focused on a goal and helping each other get there. So finding Allah within all of us is innate. This pursuit has substantial value to us and to the wider society's function. But so what? Why have we spent these last 20 odd minutes discussing why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is valuable and the fact that He's innate within us? Because frankly, you could just continue your life, I could continue my life, the 73% could continue their life and die, and that kind of just be the end of it from their perspective. Well, let's just engage our intellect for a second and our concept of gratitude again and see where it takes us. So bear with me. If we take a few steps back and reflect on this grand and great host that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and what He's done for us, think just for a second emotionally. And for the sisters, I'm going to make a very sweeping statement. Sisters are usually able to tap into their emotions a bit quicker than men. So men, brothers, like me, let's tap into some emotion for a second, okay? I want you to feel for a moment. If you step back and reflect on the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done, start to think about it. The warmth that He's given you, the security that He's given us, the love that He's given us, the nourishment that He's given us. And we all know intellectually that Allah has given us way more than just those things we've just mentioned. But the more that we recognize these amazing things that Allah has given us, the more we simply drop in awe and submit to Him. The more we recognize how much He's given us, the more we just drop in awe and submit to Him. If a friend of yours has supported you every single step throughout your life, when times were tough, financially, friends, in the job, in the family, in the marriage, as a parent, whatever, they were there. Whenever you needed them, they were there. At some point you just submit and say, you know what, thanks man. I really appreciate when you came through for me at that time. When you told no one, you made no big hoo-ha about it on Instagram, but you came through to me. I just want to thank you for that. That same level of feeling I want us to tap into with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To say, you know what Allah, every single plate of food that I've ever consumed, I just want to thank you for that. Because I know and I've seen the pictures of those who are malnourished at the moment in Yemen, of those in Ethiopia, it's been going on for years. But you gave me this food. So just at this moment on this night of Lady Zahra, I just want to sincerely thank you for this. And when you let that feeling overtake, you'll start to realise, you know what, I need to probably do more than just say thank you. I probably need to bow this egotistical head of mine to this sublime creator that is given and given and given. And what I would like to do, inshallah, with your permission, for the last few minutes that we have, is to try and describe some of the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. Now we know that we need to make sure we're always going towards Him despite the society that we're in. Now we know that it's valuable for us to do so. We now want to engage that feeling within you to say, you know what, I want to get closer to you by recognizing what you've given me, and maybe I'll drop this arrogant head of mine in sujood for longer tomorrow. Maybe. But I don't want to use my words. I would like to use the words of the son of the lady who commemorated him, the one who was taught by his mother. So any word that he utters, no doubt has been taught by his mother, no doubt has been taught by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jal directly. And these are the words of Imam Hussein alayhi salam from Dua al-Arafah, with the commentary by Shaykh Muhammad Jawad Shumari. So if you'd like to enter this part of the journey of the Majlis, I kindly ask you to offer a reflective and loving and an appreciative salawat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And given that we're about to mention some of these lines that relate to a child, for those of you who are parents, I hope you managed to sleep, because I've learned as a parent it's tough to sleep. For those of you as parents, these lines may resonate a little bit more with you, because you've seen this journey of your respected wife not being pregnant to being pregnant to giving birth, and nourishment of that child. You've seen it firsthand. So this will mean something maybe a little bit more to you. And to my dear brothers and sisters who are not parents, may Allah grant you beautiful spouses that can pair with you and go on this beautiful journey of parenthood, inshallah, so you can experience this. But you also have been born and you've gone through this journey, so I'm sure you'll be able to resonate with this. So again, in honor of the one, as Brother Sa'id beautifully said, never got to see this world, our dear Muhsin alayhi salam, kindly offer salawat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Just reflect on some of these words from Imam Hussein alayhi salam. In appreciation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Imam Hussein alayhi salam raises his hands in the land of Arafah. Amongst which he says, ابتدأت بنعمة قبل أن أكون شيئا مذكورا. Oh Allah. And as I say these words, Imam Hussein, perhaps, just as an exercise, repeat them in your head and see how it makes you feel as you converse with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh Allah, you had begun bestowing on me your blessings before I was even mentioned. Oh Allah, you had begun bestowing on me your blessings before I was even mentioned. Before I even had the name Sadiq or Ahmed or Hassan or Zainab or Fatima or Zahra, before I even had an identity, before my parents even knew me, before my parents even met, before anything, you were already blessing me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You were looking after me. I existed, but in an indefinite form. You were still nourishing me. When did you start looking after me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? At conception, or even before that, Imam Hussein describes. He says, Askantani al-asla. You gave me a place in the loins of my forefathers. آمنا لريب المنون واختلاف الدهور والسنين. You secured me from the uncertainty of fate and the winds of the ages and the years. فلم أزل ضاعنا من صلب إلى رحم. I was moving from a loin to a womb. في تقادم من الأيام الماضية والقرون الخالية. Throughout the passage of the past days and the ancient ages. What are we trying to learn from Imam Hussein alayhi salam here? He's saying, look, Allah, you had planned for me a specific day. And you protected me from all of these years that went before I was born. Why? Because you said, you decreed, oh my creation, on this day of your birth was the perfect time for you to enter this earth. Not earlier, not later. Otherwise, I would have put you in at that time. You know when like an examiner or a teacher says, you know what? I'm not going to let you go to the next stage. Why? Let me go to the next stage. I'm ready for it. No. I'll let you know when you're ready. It's not what's best for you in mind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Imam Hussein is describing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decided that for his creation, I want you born on this day specifically, at this time specifically, because you'll be able to get as close to me as you can in this time, not in the time before and not in the time after. You are perfectly timed. Your Lord wanted you at the exact moment because he believed that's what could flourish. Oh Allah, for that, thank you. Thank you for having my back before I even knew I existed. Thank you for having my back before I could even think when would be the right time. Thank you for planning, despite everything, for my specific day, so I can now journey towards you. Imam Hussein alayhi salam continues. Fihi ansha'ta. Put me up in it. وَمِنْ قَبْلِ ذَلِكَ, but even before that, you were kind to me through your gracious fashioning and abundant blessings. You brought me up in this, but even before it, you were kind to me through your gracious fashioning and abundant blessings. I.e. that before I even did a single thing in my life, you were already rewarding me. You were already tipping the balance. of me being blessed, even though I did nothing. So for those of us who on this night are maybe thinking, you know what, oh Allah, I've sinned. I've said qurbatan ilallah, but actually in reality I've run away from you. Remember this, even when you did nothing, Allah was blessing you with everything. So tonight you can turn back towards Him. بحق Zahra, you can turn back towards Him. بحق Al-Hussein, you can turn back towards Him. If He's willing to bless you when you've done nothing, then why do you think He's not going to bless you now? Especially when He sees you do something in turning back towards Him. And I leave you with these final lines from Imam Hussein. When you get on that Musalla and you thank Allah on the night of Qadr, at Salat al-Fajr, whenever it is that you do it, the usual one, Ya Allah, thank you for food, thank you for family, thank you for friends, thank you for safety, thank you for this faith, all beautiful da'as. But what does Imam Hussein say? Think and reflect on how much we haven't thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for, and how many blessings He's given us. And as a result of saying these, you know what, Allah, tonight or tomorrow, I'll submit for longer in thanks to you because I'm just in awe of how much you've given me. What does He say? وَحَفِظْتَنِي بِالْمَهْدِ طِفْلًا صَغِيرًا. You safeguarded me in the cradle as a small child. Have I ever thanked Allah for protecting me when I was a small child in the cradle? Ever. وَرَزَقْتَنِي مِنَ الْغِذَاءِ لَبْنًا مَرِيًّا. You have provided me with wholesome milk as a food. Have I ever thanked Allah for the milk that I received from my mother, even though I was having it for almost 2 years of my life? Have I ever thanked Allah for that milk that nourished me? وَعْطَفْتَ عَلَيَّ قُلُوبَ الْحَوَارِ. You've made the hearts of the caretakers tender. Oh Allah, those who carried me, my mother, my father, my grandparents, my uncles, maybe my siblings, have I ever thanked you for the love you put in their heart that they then showed to me, even though I would cry and scream and throw up all over them? Have I ever thanked you for the love that you put in their heart so that they wouldn't harm me? Because I was completely innocent. If they harmed me, I couldn't do anything about it. And the final line, you have put me under the care of loving caretakers, to take care of me when I could not even talk and articulate my needs until I started to pronounce words. Have I ever thanked Allah for that innocent childhood that I had, where He protected me, where He looked after me? Imam Hussein demonstrates to us that this life is continuous. Throughout every single stage of our life, it continues His mercy, His love, His nourishment, His rizq. So my question to you, my dear brothers and sisters, is that if you had a school teacher that looked after you, that grew you from when you were aged 4 until 18, that got you into the university and got you into the career that you wanted to get into, that protected you when things were getting difficult, that supported you in the retake, if you were to walk past them in the street after seeing them 10 years later, how thankful would you be to them? And how thankful are you to Allah every single day? Tonight, perhaps Zahra, we can reset and we find our purpose to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you feel that your heart is a little bit hard, and that maybe it's filled with those sins that is preventing you from turning back, we have an amazing tool that Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam teaches. And that is that if your heart is hard, and you're unable to cry, then recite the Messiah of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam and seek istighfar. And tonight, we have an opportunity to take, for me to take. And that is to cry and to soften our hearts and to submit to Allah through the Messiah of Sayeda Zahra salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayha. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليك عليك يا أمير المؤمنين صلى الله عليك يا سيدة نساء العالمين. Sayeda Zahra complains to her father in her last days for the way she was treated after his martyrdom. ماذا على من شمت ربة أحمد لا يشم مدى الزمان غواليا. صبت علي مصائب لو أنها صبت على الأيام صرنا لياليا. If the problems that fell me had fallen on a bright day, even the day would have turned into the darkest night. What was it, O Fatima, that made you lament in this way? What did they do to the mother of patience to make you complain in this manner? The evil tyrants never allowed the wound of losing her father to heal, as the enemies of Allah kept on tormenting her, reminding her that she had departed this world. Not only did they stop her from mourning her beloved father, they stole the rights of her Imam. How she must have felt. Tonight we will focus on the event which took place, which caused the death of not just one innocent life but two. The agony of a lady and the baby she cried within her womb. How ironic how those who were the first to congratulate Amir al-Mu'mineen at Ghadir would be the ones now most angered by him, not giving him allegiance. They stole his rights given to him by the Almighty Allah and expected him to submit to their actions. They were adamant that they would obtain the bay'ah from Ali, but an army was dispatched onto his house to force him to do so. Ajarakum Allah. They began screaming and shouting for Ali to come out from the house, but Fatima to Zahra called out to them, telling them to leave the vicinity of her house. The cursed man then made a threat which changed the course of history. He had the audacity to shout and call out, "Oh Ali, come out from that house or we shall burn it with you inside." One of the other men from the army says to the cursed tyrant, "Oh man, this is the house of Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet. She's also within this house." This so-called leader of the Muslims replied, "What in?" They told him Fatima was inside the house, and he calls out, "So what? No care at all, what an arrogant fool." When Ali did not emerge from the house, the enemies of Allah ordered that fire would be brought to the house. Ya Allah, ya this is the house of Fatima. This is the door of Allah's chosen ones, the pure Ahlul Bayt. But they did not care, for they were only interested in dunya. They lit the house of Fatima and the flames set alight. Fatima is narrated to have said, as the flames engulfed the door and the black smoke began to creep inside the house, I began to choke. I began to choke from the intensity of the smoke. Ya Allah, the narration say at these moments Zahra had rushed towards the door to try and prevent them from entering. as she was stood behind the door. Ajarakumullah, the enemy kicked open the door, crushing Fatima between the door and the wall. She was a tender young woman, Rose of Rasulullah, trapped behind the door of her house. But did they stop there? By Allah, no. They only increased the torment and torture of Sayeda Nisa'il Alameen. The enemy of Allah said, that's when I heard the voice of Fatima behind the door. I was about to turn away, but then I remembered what Ali had done to our forefathers in the battlefield. Overcome with hatred in my heart, he says, so I kicked the door a second time with all my strength. Fatima was further pushed between the door and the wall. Ya Allah, there was a protruding nail coming out from the door, as if being crushed by a door wasn't enough. But I imagine a sharp nail also piercing through the body at the same time. Narrations say the nail stabbed into the purely puncturing her wound. عصرها المال عمر وأيها والعادات بيا بنبت والسد المنية يا والله بيا بنبت والسد After that door, Zahra disappeared. She sought protection. He squished her. He who does not have a conscience. She sought protection for what sin was she killed. Ajarakumullah. They stormed into the house. They slapped the lady of light on her cheeks. Imam al-Sadiq says the moment he slapped her, the earring broke from her ear and she fell down to the floor. Ya Sahib al-Zaman, he did not stop there. The narrations say also the la'in kicked her stomach with all his strength. As if the pain from the slap on the face wasn't enough, or the crush between the door and the wall wasn't enough. Surely a kick to the stomach caused the miscarriage of Sayyidina wa Mawlana Muhsin, as Fatima lays beaten and bleeding. She calls out, Ya Fidda, Ya Sayyidini, oh Fidda, come read me. ولي عزار المظلومة ولي عزار المظلومة ولي عزار المظلومة عزار المظلوم ولعزار المظلوم ولعزار المظلوم عاشت وماتت مهمومة لعزار المظلومة ولعزار المظلومة ولعزار المظلومة ولعزار المظلومة عاشت وماتت مظلومة عاشت وماتت مظلومة ولعزها المظلومة جزاكم الله خير الجزاء. مأجورين. الظالم لا ما معذور. الظالم لا ما معذور. This is translated as the oppressor is not excused. يا فاطمة الظالم لا ما معذور. ظالم لا ما معذور. يا فاطمة صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. ظالم لا ما معذور. ظالم لا ما معذور. ظالم لا ما معذور. يا فاطمة ظالم لا ما معذور. ظالم لا ما معذور. ظالم لا ما معذور. يا فاطمة ظالم لا ما معذور. ظالم ظالم لا ما يا فاطمة يا ظالم ظالم لا ما معذور. ظالم ظالم لا ما معذور. يا فاطمة. Let's just think, if we were there, would we have the mind to care? Would we know who was oppressed? Would we know the oppressor? At the dawn of creation, think how did Habil get killed? At the time of Prophet Lut, with such lust their hearts were filled. And when Jacob's tears they fell for Yusuf down in the well, Pharaoh and his heresy, Moses who split the Red Sea, to Mary what they said, Muhammad his deathbed, Fatima where she bled. Fatima ظالم لا ما معذور. ظالم لا ما معذور. ظالم لا ما معذور. يا فاطمة ظالم لا ما معذور. ظالم لا ما معذور. يا فاطمة. Certain things are black and white, certain things are wrong and right. We can't get confused about what to protect and to fight. Just before the Prophet died, why was the paper denied? Ask yourself its impression. They stopped his expression, arguing for succession. Is that not such oppression? The Prophet, he said no more. He had glimpses of the door. He had glimpses of the door. My daughter, what they did, Fatima's broken rib, Muhsin who didn't live. Ya Fatima ظالم لا ما معذور. ظالم ظالم لا ما معذور. يا فاطمة ظالم لا ما معذور. ظالم لا ما معذور. ظالم لا ما معذور. يا let's not be like those asleep, wandering about like sheep. They want us as mindless fools. Look what's being taught at schools. Look what's being taught at schools. Can't you see the bigger plan? How they rape out Muslim lands. They want to destroy Islam. Just look at their hijab ban. Just look at their hijab. Just keep scrolling with your thumbs. The absent fathers and mums. Will we ever look around instead of just looking down? Instead of just looking down, all we do is consume. Pause videos then resume. This will be our doom. Ya Fatima ظالم لا ما معذور. معذور. ظالم لا ما معذور. يا ظالم ظالم لا ما معذور. ظالم لا
ظالم Ya Fatima, let's not be like those asleep, wandering about like sheep. They want us as mindless fools. Look what's being taught at schools. Look what's being Look what's being taught at schools. Can't you see the bigger plan? How they rape out Muslim lands. They want to destroy Islam. Just look at the hijab ban. Just look at the ban. The poet is Sayeda Alhakeem. Just keep scrolling. The absent fathers and mums. Just keep scrolling with your thumbs. The absent fathers and mums. Will we ever look around instead of just looking down? Instead of just looking down, all we do is consume, pause videos, then resume. This will be our doom. Ya Fatima, Zalim, Ya Ma'dur, Zalim, Ya Ma'dur, Zalim, Ya Ma'dur, Ya Fatima. Even louder, Zalim, Ya Ma'dur, Zalim, Ya Ma'dur, Zalim, Ya Ma'dur, Ya Fatima. Maybe don't reach for your phone, instead spend some time alone. Rather than being a slave, go find your own Alhakeem. Let's go and reclaim our mind. We need to make the time. Our Imam for us he waits. Do not let it be too late. And now we must pick a side, with the truth or with the lies, with Hussein or with Yazid, as there is no in between. As there is as there is no in between. We will bow Fatima, by your name we do swear, no to the oppressor. Ya Fatima, Zalim, Ya Ma'dur, Zalim, Ya Ma'dur, Zalim, Ya Ma'dur, Ya Fatima, Zalim, Ya Ma'dur, Zalim, Ya Ma'dur, Zalim, Ya Ma'dur, Ya maybe don't reach for your phone, instead spend some time alone. Rather than being a slave, go find your own Alhakeem. Let's go and reclaim our mind. We need to make the time. Our Imam for us he waits. Do not let it be too late. And now we must pick a side, with the truth or with the lies, with Hussein or with Yazid, as there is no in between. As there is no in between. As there is no in between. We will bow Fatima, by your name we do swear, go to the oppressor. Ya Fatima, Zalim, Ya Ma'dur, Zalim, Ya Ma'dur, Zalim, Ya Ma'dur, Ya Fatima, Zalim, Ya Ma'dur, Zalim, Ya Ma'dur, Zalim, Ya Ma'dur, Ya Fatima.
صلوا على محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
سلام الله عليك يا زهرة. 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 سلام الله your light in the darkness of the night. Oh, they took all your rights in the darkness of the night. Oh, Ali, hid your sight in the darkness of the door to heaven's door is behind the door. Light of the universe burns but is no more. Light of the universe burns but is no more. Salam Allah alayki ya Zahra. 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 At your door are the poors, your blood they came here to pour. At your door is a war, your home they came here to torch. And they knew Fatima is behind the door. They heard your holy wail, but to no avail. They heard your holy wail, but to no avail. The door became your veil, God forgive the nail. The door became your veil, God forgive the nail. Salam Allah alayki ya Zahra. 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 Zainab is watching on with Hussein and your Hassan as the flames are burning on with Hussein and your Hassan. And you hear from your son Muhsin calling You give me breath and you take my breath away. You give me breath and you take my breath away. You heal me with your name, and with it you slay. You heal me with your name, and with it you slay. Salam Allah alayki ya Zahra. 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 Salawat.
يلتناشد على الهوية أنا خادم للزكية. This chorus translates to, O you who asks of my identity, I am a servant of the pure one, as in Fatima to Zahra alayhi salam. يلتناشد على الهوية أنا خادم للزكية. يلتناشد على الهوية أنا خادم للزكية.
ناشد على الهوية أنا خادم للزكية
يا ريت ناشد على الهوية أنا خادم للزكية
ناشد على الهوية أنا خادم للزكية
بالمجالس والعزاء روحي ظلت هايمة واستمع يا الناشدين أنا خادم فاطمة دايب بجو اللطف وحيل ذبت بعالمه واندرت قلبي نذر للحسين ومأتمه للحسين ومأتمه تشهد جروحي عليه أنا خادم للزكية تشهد جروحي عليه أنا خادم للزكية قلت ناشد
أنا خادم
أعلى
ناشد على الهوية أنا خادم للزكية
بالمجالس والعزاء روحي واستمع يا الناشدين أنا خادم فاطمة دايب الجو اللطف وحيل ذبت بعالمه واندرت قلبي نذر للحسين ومأتمه للحسين ومأتمه تشهد جروحي عليه أنا خادم للزكية تشهد جروحي عليه أنا خادم للزكية قلت ناشد
أنا خادم للزكية قلت ناشد على الهوية أنا خادم للزكية
من جوابي رايتي الناشدين فكري بالخدمة انشغل وبد ما عندي وكيل خدمتي أكبر شرف وأنا بيها تفاخرت وحق رب السماء أحلى منها ما شفت أحلى منها ما شفت فضل من رب البرية
أنا خادم للزكية
فضل من رب البرية
أنا خادم للزكية
قلت ناشد على هوية
أنا خادم للزكية
قلت ناشد
أنا خادم للزكية
من جواب آيتي الناشدين فكري بالخدمة انشغل وبد ما عندي وكيل خدمتي أكبر شرف وأنا بيها تفاخرت وحق رب السماء أحلى منها ما شفت أحلى منها
ما شفت
فضل من رب البرية أنا خادم للزكية فضل من رب البرية
أنا خادم للزكية
قلت ناشد على هوية
أنا خادم للزكية
قلت ناشد
أنا خادم للزكية
بالصلاة والذكر ارتجي ورافع ايدي وادعي يا رب السماء يديم هالنعمة علي خدمة حسين وهلا كل وقت صارت لي ضيق من يموت يخدمه يبي الناس يبقى حي يبي الناس يبقى حي وافتخر وقت المنية انا خادم للزكية وافتخر وقت المنية
أنا خادم للزكية
قلت ناشد على هوية
أنا خادم للزكية
قلت ناشد
أنا خادم للزكية
يا الزهرة صاحبك مادينة 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 لما نسمع راعي وينعل على حايط عصاه البضعة لما نسمع راعي وينعل على حايط عصاه البضعة تثبت بالعين الدمعة وتظل حسرة ماشينا وتظل حسرة ماشينا يا الزهرة صاحبك مادينة يا الزهرة صاحبك
مادينة يا الزهرة صاحبك مادينة
نسمع عيون معه على حايط عصفها البضعة لما نسمع عيون على حايط عصفها البضعة ما تثبت بالعين الدمعة وتظل الحسرة ماشينا وتظل الحسرة ماشينا يا زهرة
مصافيش مادينا يا زهرة مصافيش مادينا
يا زهرة
مصافيش مادينا يا زهرة مصافيش مادينا
يا زهرة
مصافيش مادينا يا زهرة مصافيش مادينا
شبعوا منك يسمعونك يا حي الزهرة يكتبونك كانهم ثارات يطلبونك ما جنك رحمة بارينا ما جنك رحمة بارينا يا زهرة مصافيش مادينا
يا زهرة مصافيش مادينا
يا زهرة مصافيش
مادينا يا زهرة مصافيش مادينا
يا زهرة مصافيش مادينا دروج الناس الغدارة ترهم وياهم شارة دروج الناس الغدارة ترهم وياهم شارة واحدهم ما طالع غاره يمك طلع الجفينا ويمك طلع الجفينا يا زهرة مصافيش
مادينا يا زهرة مصافيش مادينا
يا زهرة مصافيش
مادينا يا زهرة مصافيش
مادينا يا زهرة
مادينا يا زهرة مصافيش
هذا اللي احنا نقوله هذا اللي احنا نقوله الصحابي سموهم دولة هذا اللي احنا نقوله الصحابي سموهم دولة اللي يمدح دمت المشغولة والحبهم ما يعرف دينا والحبهم ما يعرف دينا والحبهم ما يعرف دينا
والحبهم ما
يعرف دينا هذا اللي احنا نقوله الصحابي سموهم دولة هذا اللي احنا نقوله الصحابي سموهم دولة هذا اللي احنا نقوله الصحابي سموهم دولة واليمدح ذمت المشغولة والحبهم ما يعرف دينا ما يعرف حبهم ما
يعرف دينا والحبهم ما يعرف دينا
يا زهرة صافيش مادينا حيدر بعدك حالة تغير من بعدك صاير مو حيدر حيدر بعدك حالة تغير من بعدك صاير مو حيدر وضلعك كان طلعت كسر بمصابك ما نشفت عينه بمصابك ما نشفت عينه يا زهرة مصابك
مادينا يا زهرة مصابك مادينا
يا زهرة مصابك مادينا
يا زهرة مصابك مادينا
لو ما الجف
يتشتت من دمهم سيفه ولا ينشف، بس الوصية اللزمة تنشف. صاروا بحبال مقيدينا، صاروا بحبال مقيدينا. يا زهرة صارت مادينا، يا زهرة صارت مادينا، يا زهرة صارت مادينا، يا زهرة صارت مادينا. يبقى لها عايش ويانا حد يوم اللي يظهر مولانا، يبقى لها معايش ويانا حد يوم اللي يظهر مولانا. يسمعها الكلمة من لسانه، يا شيعة الثاري ثانينا، يا شيعة الثاري ثانينا، يا شيعة الثاري ثانينا. يا زهرة صارت مادينا، يا زهرة صارت مادينا، يا زهرة صارت مادينا، يا زهرة صارت مادينا. هذا اللي نحن نقوله الصحابي يسمون دوله، هذا اللي نحن نقوله الصحابي يسمون دوله. واللي يمدح ذمته المشغوله، والحبهم ما يعرف دينه، الحبهم ما يعرف دينه، والحبهم ما يعرف دينه، الحبهم ما يعرف دينه. غدرات الناس الغدارة ما ترهم وياهم شارة، غدرات الناس الغدارة ما ترهم وياهم شارة. واحدهم ما طالع غاره، يمك طلع من شفينا، ويمك طلع من شفينا. يا زهرة صاحبك مادينا، يا زهرة صاحبك مادينا، يا زهرة صاحبك مادينا، يا زهرة صاحبك مادينا. يبقى معايش ويانا حد يوم اللي يظهر مولانا، يبقى لهم عايش ويانا حد يوم اللي يظهر مولانا. يسمعها الكلمة من لسانه، يا شيعة الثاري ثانينا، يا شيعة ثانينا. يا زهرة صاحبك مادينا، يا زهرة هذا اللي نحن نقوله أصحابي يسمون دوله، هذا اللي نحن نقوله الصحابي يسمون دوله. واللي يمدح ذمته المشغوله، والحبهم ما يعرف دينه، الحبهم ما يعرف دينه، والحبهم ما يعرف دينه، الحبهم ما يعرف دينه. يا زهرة صاحبك مادينا أبد والله، يا زهرة ما ننسى حسينا أبد والله، يا زهرة ما ننسى حسينا أبد والله، يا زهرة ما ننسى حسينا. حسين 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 يا حسين. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
Please face the Qibla, دعاء الفرج. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم كن وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آله في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أمن يجيب مضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أمن يجيب المضطر 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 إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء يا الله يا الله يا الله اللهم بحق المضطر أجب المضطر ونحن المضطرون يا الله. اللهم شافي كل مريض بحق مريض كربلاء زين العابدين. ورحم الله من قرأ سورة الفاتحة لكل المؤمنين والمؤمنات لا سيما أموات الحاضرين. تسبق الصلاة على محمد وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.